Well, good morning, sports fans. It's the second edition of the Jeff and Jimmy show this year for 2021. Joining us today is our resident analyst, football analyst, K-State fan, Laura Oglander. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed last week. It was nice to see everybody out and about and back at football games and everybody enjoying themselves. And it was a very competitive week last week. So if you're ready, we'll get started on this week's picks.
Do it.
First up is Derby and Newton. Newton lost last week to Andover Central. Derby, as Jim informed me, had to have their game canceled because the team backed out from wherever they were from. And so this is Derby's first game. I have no doubts Derby's going to roll in this game.
Yeah, I picked Derby.
Coach Clark does a good job of bringing in talent, and Derby's Derby. They're winning this one.
Next up is Capon and East. East lost to Hayes last week, although Hayes is a good team, as you pointed out. Capon is coming off of a really good win. I'm taking Capon.
I picked Capon. They looked pretty good last week.
Coach Sharks, I've pointed this out, he's done a really good job of revamping the program there. They got a top flight tight end that's going to play Division I football, so definitely the Crusaders.
Next up is Independence and North High. North was competitive last week.
They were.
And so they're playing Independence. Really hope North can pick up their first win of the season, so I'm taking North.
I don't know a whole lot about either North.
I'm going with the sentimental pick. I would really like to see North, as the sheriff has pointed out in the past, really get going. There's some good kids there, so I'd like to see the Redskins win.
At least our resident analyst on football is honest.
Yeah. The first two I could bluff my way through, but high school, I'm more of a college knowledge there.
Next up is West and Southeast. I'm taking Southeast in that game.
Southeast.
I think it's going to be competitive. I'm going to go with the Buffaloes.
Then we have Eisenhower, Celina Central. Eisenhower's coming off of a loss last week. Perennially, they are a pretty good football team, so I'm sticking with the West Side and taking Eisenhower.
They're local, so Eisenhower.
Celina Central surprised me last week, and they had a nice win, so I'm going to differ from you guys and go with Celina Central.
Next up is Mays and Campus. Mays had a tight one with Andover last week. Kind of surprised me a little bit. So, but I think Mays is going to be too strong for Campus, so I'm taking Mays.
I'm going to pick Campus this time.
Wow, bold pick.
I know, isn't it?
Yes.
South side. Yo 6-0.
Wow.
Yo, 6-0.
Mays, they did have a rough game last week, but as we've talked about, Avery Johnson, their quarterback's big time recruit. I think they're going to rebound, and I think the Eagles will win this one.
Next up is Celina South and Mays South. Mays South is coming off of a big win. Celina South has not been very good in the last several years. I'm taking Mays South.
Mays South.
Like I pointed out last week, I think Mays South has something special brewing. I'm going with the Mavericks.
Next up is Valley Center and Goddard. Goddard came off of a tough loss, and Buehler kind of took it to him. Valley Center, I don't remember what they did last week, but I think this will be a very competitive game. But I'm taking the Lions of Goddard.
You know, one benefit of not keeping track of my stats is I'm going to pick Valley Center.
I think Goddard is going to rebound, and I'm going to go with the Lions.
Next up is Northwest and Heights. Northwest is coming off of a loss to Bishop Carroll, first time in quite a while.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be ready to go. We'll probably cut down on the turnovers and penalties, and I think Northwest will win this game.
While I'm going to pick Northwest, I need to make one statement. Jim had very helpfully posted a link last week so that we could watch the Northwest Bishop Carroll game. I went to go find it, and it had been removed after the game. So what happened there?
The game was over. I thought nobody else would want to watch it, so.
Interesting.
But that speaks to Northwest following. They have live feeds of football games. They have like
Good recovery.
some other shows they have on YouTube and stuff. So big time program. But as far as the game, I think as long as we've been doing this show, I have never picked against Northwest. And Northwest is young, and Coach Martin's going to get the turnovers and penalties and all that fixed. They're stacked with talent. And a big shout out, their quarterback is Captain Moore's grandson, Jeremiah Moore.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
And he has scholarship offers to the Naval Academy and West Point. So
That's amazing.
That is awesome.
Something Grandma
She's very proud
Moore
of.
should be very proud of. So congratulations, we'll let on that.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm picking against the Grizzlies.
Next up is South and Bishop Carroll. I think Bishop Carroll will roll in this game.
I do know a little bit more about Bishop Carroll.
I was impressed by Bishop Carroll last week. What really impressed me was their quarterback. They were getting a lot of pressure on him, and that kid made plays, so definitely the Golden Eagles.
We have Clearwater Rose Hill. Rose Hill took a pretty big loss last week. Clearwater won. I'm going to take Clearwater.
Clearwater in this game.
I like Clearwater. I like what they're doing with their program.
We have Andale Mulvane. Until somebody beats Andale, I'm taking Andale.
I graduated from Mulvane. Again, my stats aren't kept, so Mulvane.
This is a battle of your guys' alma maters.
It is,
right.
yeah, and we generally lose, as in Mulvane loses. Yeah.
I'm going to side with the sheriff's school on this one.
Next up, we got Collegiate and Wellington. I think this will be a competitive game. It has been in the years past, but I think Collegiate will come out the winner in this game.
I'm going to go with Wellington. They were in our league in school, and they've usually been good. This was canceled last week, is that right? So,
I think Wellington game got canceled last
yeah,
week.
so I'll pick Wellington.
This was a tough game to pick, but I'm gonna go with the local team. I'll go with Collegiate.
Next up is Belle, Plaine, and Cheney. Cheney's been good the last 3 or 4 years. I don't see them letting up this year. I'm taking Cheney.
Cheney.
I agree. I think the Cardinals will get this one.
We then have Sterling and Garden Plaine. I'm taking Garden Plaine in this game as well.
Garden Plaine.
Garden Plaine strong.
We then have Independent and Sedgwick. Sedgwick has been a pretty good football team over the last 2 or 3 years. They won last week, so I'm going to take Sedgwick.
I'll pick Sedgwick.
I think Sedgwick has something special going. I'll go with them as well.
We then have Andover and Ark City. Andover, again, played a very competitive game against a very good school, which is Mays. But I'm going to take Andover in this game.
Andover.
We had a good time out at Andover last week, and I want to thank them again, and big compliments to our high school. That new high school out there is beautiful, and I am going to go with the Trojans as well.
Last high school pick is the Andover Central Buehler game. Jim and I were just out at Buehler with KWCH doing our picks, and it was pointed out that I was the loser last week several times.
A couple times, yeah.
And Andover Central played Newton last week. I think they won 10-7 or 10-3. It was a pretty tight game. Buehler really took it to Goddard. I think Buehler is the better team, so I'm taking Buehler.
Buehler.
I'll show my age on this one. I used to like Big 8 football where you ran the football and played defense, and I think that's what Buehler does, so I'm going with Buehler. Old school football.
Old school football.
Thanks, Lauren.
Well, he's the big loser, and then you got the old school.
Yeah. We're going to move on to college. So we got Kansas and Coastal Carolina, and I said last week I will not pick Kansas till they win a game. They did win a game last week, and I'm still not picking them. Coastal Carolina kind of took it to Kansas last year. They're ranked,
Yeah.
and it's in Coastal Carolina. I think KU's not going to be strong enough to win that game.
I happened to check the line on this game before we sat down.
That's good analyst work.
I know college stuff occasionally. 26.5 points to Coastal Carolina. I also probably will rarely pick KU, and I'm not picking them this week. Coastal Carolina.
I would like to pick KU. I think they've got a good coach, but this game's probably going to get away from the Jayhawks.
One bright spot is Mason Fairchild, who went to Andale High School, plays tight end for KU. He made ESPN top 10 plays with a catch. So it's nice to see a local kid performing well at the next level. Next up is Texas Tech, Stephen F. Austin. I'm taking Tech on this.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'll go with the school not named having somebody's full name in it.
Okay, so that's like me picking high school right there. That was how I justify my high school picks.
We got Tulsa, Oklahoma State. I love how you pick some stuff though sometimes, but we have Tulsa, Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State will beat Tulsa in this game.
Oklahoma State.
Tulsa's no slouch, so I'm going to go with the Cowpokes.
Next up, we got California, TCU. TCU's not that good. And I don't like California, the state. So I'm taking TCU.
I'm glad we kept that one short. I'll stick with the Big 12 and pick TCU.
That's odd. I've never heard you voice your opinions about California.
No, that's no.
I think this game will actually be closer than you think, but it's at TCU, so I'll go with the Horned Frogs.
We have Iowa State. Iowa State's ranked. They didn't play up to what I think their potential is last week. But I'm still going to take Iowa State over Iowa.
This game is going to be a really good game. I'm going to give Iowa State the edge because I believe it's at Iowa State. So I'll give them the edge, but I'm not too sure.
This is going to be a really good game. Iowa State, I've always talked about their coach, Matt Campbell. Probably his last year, in my opinion. He'll probably end up at Michigan next year. He doesn't do good out of conference. He's only beat one team out of the top 20 team out of conference. And Iowa looked really good last week.
Yeah.
And Big Ten will win this game.
Which is Iowa.
Yeah. The better team is the Big Ten team.
With
Oh
the
my
Northwest
God. Unless it's
graduate
Nebraska.
on there that you brag about all the time,
Yeah.
you're picking against Northwest graduate.
Not going with my heart. Going with my. Brees will have a good game though. Brees is legit.
Next up, we got Long Island and West Virginia. Is their mascot the Iced Teas?
Oh my
Because
God.
I've never heard of Long Island.
Tip your waitresses.
So I'm going to go with West Virginia.
I honestly, I was gonna say I didn't know Long Island played football, so West Virginia.
I like to think I know sports pretty well, but I did not know Long Island had a football team, so I'm not picking Long Island.
Is this what you would call Bill Snyder scheduling, or is it even lower?
That's
than-
even lower than Bill
Oh.
Snyder scheduling. That's, yeah.
Next up is Texas Southern at Baylor. I'm taking Baylor in that game.
Baylor.
Baylor.
We then have Texas and Arkansas. Texas is going to get a taste of what SEC football is about. And if they can't beat Arkansas, they don't belong in the SEC, so I'm picking Arkansas.
I'm really excited for this game, mainly because I might be just a little salty about Texas going to the SEC, not Oklahoma as much. Texas hasn't really done much in the Big 12 over the last decade. I don't think they're going to win this game. Arkansas.
You guys have no biases in this pick at all.
Not
I
at
can
all.
tell.
No.
I think Texas is vastly overrated. I watched their game last week. To me, it looked like the same old Texas. Sarkisian to me is a little bit overrated. So definitely going with the SEC team.
We have Southern Illinois and K-State. K-State had a good win last week. Granted, Stanford's kind of down, but it is a Pac-12 team, so the new coach didn't do some of the Bill Snyder scheduling, did he?
No,
I mean, he
did not.
scheduled a Pac-12 team.
Actually, Stanford, I think, actually was scheduled while Bill Snyder was there. So-
There you go. So,
Bold move by Bill.
yeah. So, it's at home, the first home game of the year. Go Wildcats.
We will be there. It's going to be my son's first game at Bill Snyder, so I'm
Awesome.
really excited for that. And I am picking Kansas State. Defense looked good. Offense was a little shaky, but Skylar hadn't played in a year, so K-State.
K-State did do a good job beating the preseason 8th seed in the Pac-12. Noble win, good win. I mean, you would have thought they won the Super Bowl
They
or
weren't
something.
last.
But yeah.
Talking about winning the Super Bowl, I missed this opportunity. We talked about KU. They rushed the field last week.
Yeah, they
I
did.
saw
Yeah.
that. That was,
Interesting choice.
hey, it's the first time they won a game in like
Since
600.
2019,
Yeah,
I
600 and
think,
some
yeah.
days. But as far as this one, like I said, they had a good showing against the 8th seed in the Pac-12. And K-State's good about scheduling Mo Valley basketball teams. Southern Illinois is another Mo Valley team, so we'll go with K-State in this one.
Next up is Western Carolina and Oklahoma. I will tell you, I think Oklahoma's overrated, and they showed it last week. Tulane's not known for football, and they had a chance to win that game and lost by 5. So, but it is Western Carolina, so I'm taking Oklahoma.
I feel like I'm getting a stare down from an Oklahoma fan right now. So I pick Oklahoma. I am not as salty about them going to the SEC. I think it'll be an interesting move. But
Oklahoma can compete in other
Yeah.
sports with SEC.
yeah,
Right.
so Oklahoma
Not sure about football, but
No.
other sports.
Now they're going to start losing about 3 games a year.
at least.
No offense, Tim Myers.
Did you feel that?
Yes, if you didn't know, Tim's in the room and we're getting some
Negative vibes going
We got nods when we picked Cheney though.
right. But as far as this game, I've talked to Tim before. I think Spencer Rattler's greatly overrated. But they're playing Western Carolina. The Sooners will prevail.
You want to take the last game?
Yes, this is a good game because I'm going to pick up a game on you. This
Confident.
Buffalo is actually a pretty good team. That is where KU actually plucked their coach, Lance Leopold. But it's in Nebraska. We're on a 1-game winning streak. Things are looking bright. We have a really challenging game next week, so we better win this one against Tim Myers' team. But hopefully Frost has a good last season, and I'm hoping he pulls this one out.
We've had a real, it has been a whole year for you.
It's a roller coaster.
We've got a huge
Yeah.
turnaround.
Yeah.
Frost was the guy, put all the money on Frost, and now here we are. It's his last season. Given that, I'm going to pick Nebraska. We're going to save Scott Frost this year.
Thank you, Laura.
So he can keep losing.
I want to see if this guy will do the same thing.
Well, speaking of scheduling, they had Fordham, which I didn't know they played football.
I don't
This
even know
week.
what Fordham is.
Yeah, is that a college?
Good college. Back east.
Back east.
Solid stuff.
And so, great win.
That was a good
last
win.
week. Jim over at, they might be a JUCO, but it's okay.
They probably play Long Island.
So, well, the fact of the matter is that there's probably some JUCOs in the state of Kansas that could beat Nebraska because that's where they get most of their kids is from Kansas JUCOs. So, I
Wow.
would not doubt that, Butler or Hutch or somebody like that could beat Nebraska.
Wow.
But with that said, I'm taking Buffalo.
I like it.
He had a lot more to say than I did.
No
So-
kidding.
Well, that ends the show. As far as last week, Jimmy and I are tied 24-5. The next couple weeks, we're going to be missing Jimmy. He's on vacation, or that's what he says. So we'll find a fill-in, and I'll convince that fill-in to pick really bad picks so he has a losing record by the time he gets back.
I'll be in Arizona wine country.
Oh, is there a wine country in Arizona?
Sedona.
Oh,
Okay.
That was great. Both at the same time,
It's
huh?
mainly desert.
my office is entirely too close. I am proud of you. He did not dog. The news this morning, the Big 12 has added 4 teams. 4 teams have been confirmed added to the Big 12.
Oh, wow.
I
didn't know that.
just didn't want to say since they couldn't, nobody wanted the Big 12 teams that they did good job of adding teams.
We wanted to keep a Power 5.
We'll see how that revenue source works for them.
And I'm sad I don't have my Mickey ears because I now have an excuse to go to Orlando. So more
Better.
often than I already go.
UCF. Scott Frost did a good job there.
Yeah, and look, they're still doing well.
Yes.
Well, that ends the show for today. I hope you enjoy the show. Again, please go out, support the kids. And it's supposed to be really hot today, so make sure and hydrate. But have a good time tonight. See you next week.